When we first moved here in '74, what I remember as the library was in one of the buildings behind what is now 49er Pet that had been used for Sonoma State when they were first organizing. And of course, by that time, Sonoma State had their campus. And so one of the buildings had, it was just, as I remember, it was just one room and the librarian's desk here in one of those buildings. And as I recall, the people brought books to this other library, and then I think we stored them in our, like we had a spare room that we stored books in, and somebody else stored them in their garage, and we had a sale for Founders Day in Alicia Park, and I think we made something like $250 or $300 at first, and we thought that was really great, you know, that we had actually cleared some money for the new library. And that's why they organized. The two people that were really behind pushing this were Peter McCormick, who had been a librarian, I think, and Gwen Simons. And they were the ones that were really the instigators to get this started. Oh, and that first, I think it was the first year, too, that we entered a float in the Founders Day Parade from Friends of the Library, and we won second place for floats. But I wasn't really involved much in the float part of it. I was more involved in the book sale part in Alicia Park, and I think we set up, I think my husband set up the tables on like boards on sawhorses, you know, like 4x8s or something on sawhorses. It was, we had this nice little square where we stood in the middle and had all of our books on the boards, and I think it was probably the second sale, or it wasn't the first one, I know, but one sale, either second or third, Gwen called me and said, "Joanne, all the books are gone." We had taken the books down the night before and put them, you know, inside our tables, and we were going to put them out on the tables that morning. And come to find out, some of the city workers thought it was going to rain that night, and so they had taken our boxes of books and moved them into, I think it was a Boy Scout hut or something in Alicia Park, but some building in Alicia Park. And so all of our books were there, but when we went there that morning, there was nothing, you know, so. Well, the biggest change, of course, was moving in here, and when they built the new library, the administration came to us and said, "Do the Friends want to have a bookstore in the new library?" And we said, "Yes." And so they wanted to know what we wanted, and so I sat down and drew what I wanted, and what we wanted in the back room, you know, that we needed a computer table, that we needed shelving, that we needed, you know, all of this, and they gave us everything we asked for except storage in the library. And so we still have to have off-site storage for our books. But that was a big time, and to try and move in here. And the library was a little late in opening, too, because they were trying to get the mural in the children's room painted, I think was the catch. And so we kept getting more books and more books and more books because we were saving books to come into the library, you know. And so that was the time. And a group of us, 3 or 4 people, went down to Novato to look at their bookstore because we knew they had a bookstore. And we got an idea from them about pricing the latest fiction books up, and we went down to Petaluma because they had a little bookstore, and we got ideas from them on our little dots that do our inventory, as to when the book has been in here. And the half-price cart was an idea we picked up from Petaluma. So, and then just a group of us got together and decided what we were putting where, and like this little spinner that was in the old library, and the library was going to get rid of it. And I said, "Can we have it? Can we have it?" And they said, "Well, if you can get a wheelchair past it, you can have it, you know." So we got that, and several of us worked, like I know Don Schaefer worked very hard on it, and Charlotte Peterson worked a lot on it. Alwyn and I both worked on it, getting it set up. So it was a big deal. And one thing I do want to talk about is storage. The city of Roanoke Park has always been very supportive of us. And they have provided us with off-site storage through the years. And originally, I think it was at Marguerite Hahn's school, we had a little janitor's closet that was about that wide that we'd put books in. And then I think we were also at La Fiesta School. We kept moving. I think the schools got tired of us, maybe. I don't know. But then they gave us a space at the high school, which was a room in a portable. And that was really good because it was big enough that we could put tables in and actually do some sorting. And one time our storage space was, I think it's the corporate yard over here, yeah, on the second floor of the corporate yard building. And that was quite interesting because the only way you could access the second floor was to put the books on a hoist and move them up to the second floor and take them off and put them there. And so we didn't do any sorting at all well, that one year while we were at the corporate yard. So when we came down for our book sale, we had to do all of our sorting and pricing as we were setting up the book sale. So that was kind of interesting. But when we were at the portable at the high school, then we went out like once a week, I think, or maybe once a month, I don't know, it wasn't very often, and sorted books and got them ready for moving in for the book sale. And then they, from there, the city gave us a portable out by the ballpark, what was the ballpark then. So we had this whole room out there that was permanently ours, and we could set up all these different tables and our 60-some categories of books and sort and had room to store the boxes and all that kind of thing. And we started at that time, I think it was, looking books up on computer to get pricing on books and that kind of thing. And so that worked real well, and we were there until we moved into, well, we were still there when we moved in here. But then shortly after that, they connected us with a storage company that we store our books at still. I've always thought of it as a service to the community, and I still do. You know, we don't have a quote-unquote bookstore in Roanoke Park. We have, you know, Costco and Target that have books for sale, but we don't really have a real bookstore. And I've always thought of it as a service for the community, that the people like our bookstore and they like to come to our book sales, and I just think it's a good community service.